Hey folks, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. This is episode number 30. This is TWiP. All right, it's that time again. It's time for a TWiP Pro Photo Critique. I'm here with my good buddy, Mr. Troy Miller. Troy, what's going on, man? You have a good weekend?
Had a great weekend. Yeah, hung out with my buddy down at the bay. We took a little boat around. It was cool.
Yeah. Oh, you are. Did you get any good shooting in?
No. Well, we saw the full moon come up. I may have some good infrared shots of that.
There you go.
But that's it.
You're that infrared. Well, as per the last episode, are you still fiending for that new Z from Nikon? Yeah,
oh, yeah.
You're still in the reality distortion field for that thing?
Oh yeah. I've already put feelers out, got some Sony gear already, soft sold. Yeah, I'm ready to move it.
That's
Heck,
cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. Well, hey, speaking of new gear, as you know, before we started recording, I've been sort of hinting at me buying a new computer, right? So The last several hundred, I guess, episodes of This Week in Photo were done on my 5K iMac, which is in the other room, and right here I am on my brand new MacBook Pro 15-inch i9 processor. Yes, i9 for all you haters. So the i9 processor, 32 gigs, but I only opted for 1 terabyte of storage, of SSD storage. So, and it is doing the job of that iMac right now with no problems. It is fantastic.
Awesome. And it's portable now.
And it's completely portable. Yeah, it's completely portable. I love it. I'm still working on different ways to streamline my little setup here because I'm in this whole less is more Zen mindset. But yeah, I'm excited. Speaking of excited, there's some pretty good submissions in the community. You ready to dive into them?
I am ready. All
right, here we go. I'm going to bring up TWiP Pro here. All right, there we are, TWiP Pro, and the first one is from our buddy Peter Levshin. Let's bring him up. Peter says, this is a water buffalo and kids cleaning him with a Sony AR7 Mark III with a 7200 millimeter lens on it. We'll bring that up big. Look at that. What do you think of that guy? That's awesome. I like the motion in there. That is...
Yeah,
it's sharp. It is sharp and not sharp at the same time because you look at the edges of like the boy's shoulders and the highlights and all that. Very sharp, and the water is in motion. Very cool.
No, it's very cool. I think that the maker of this image needs to get his monitor calibrated and get that.
What cast do you see on it? Like an overall green cast?
No, it's an inside joke from me and Peter.
Oh.
He's been struggling with it being a little bit dark. I do think though that this image is a little bit dark in the sense that the highlights are blocked up a little bit. So it'd be nice to see that repaired just a little bit. Bring those highlights up and create some more contrast in it. But I mean, overall, it's an artistic, it's an ethereal type feel. I think it's really cool. I think he did a really good job with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'm not even sure.
I don't know that I mind the darkness, but again, I mean, it depends on what your display is cranked up to and in calibration, right?
Right. I mean, I think the water is the specular part of it, and I think that if you were to bring up the highlight part of this, the real extreme whites, that would bring those water droplets out even more, and then that would create some more depth. But overall, I mean, it is artistic, it is abstract, and I dig that. I mean, I think it's really great.
Yeah. I take back everything I said about Peter now because he's just kidding, Peter. All right, cool, awesome. Let's get out of this one, and the next one up. Scrolling down, thank you, Mighty Networks, is Bangkok Boxing. Another one from Peter. This is his Canon 5D Mark III with a 7200 millimeter lens on it. Look at that. This reminds me of that Muhammad Ali Sonny Liston first second shot. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean, this is a great shot. It's unfortunate that the boxer on the left, that his head is obscured, by that post, and that photojournalistically kind of kills it. So this would never merit the way it is. It's a fun shot. It's neat. I love the guy on the other side, on the far left, lower left corner, with his camera in the ring.
Yep.
I don't even know like any of the stuff that you might do here in the States, that's probably not going to even be allowed. There's a coffee cup.
I
over
see
in the
that
corner.
coffee cup. I'm gonna say that it's probably not legal to have that stuff on the.
The
This is
guy
Bangkok,
the guy in the lower right looks like he's yawning.
This is fight 35 of 70, right?
Yeah. And realistically, the guys on the bottom and the back are more in focus than I think the boxers are. Maybe they're just motion blur for
No,
them.
I think they're soft. Yeah, I think they're soft.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of a neat study. We could call it the observers or something, the watchers.
Yeah, well, you're right about the obscuring the boxer on the left, and you're also right about the softness. But what he did get right on this one is capturing that decisive moment, right? So the moment of impact of that foot to the rib cage there is, and the failure of the other boxer to block it with his knee. But yeah, I wonder, like we talk about shooting different sports and motorsports and all that. The rules around shooting an event like this, I'm sure it varies obviously from country to country, but it's got to be difficult, right? I mean, you got to be practically beyond the ropes to get in there to get the right shot, and then how do you? I don't know. It's like these guys are moving around, and it's not like you can move around to get a better vantage point because they're always going to be moving.
Right. Like our mutual friend, Steve Brazel, I know, has shot a bunch of these. And he's mentioned in some of his programs that, they put you in a corner and you have to stay there.
Yeah.
So you can't.
They're like concert photography. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of it is, you can't move. So that's always a challenge, things look easy, when you're looking at the photo, but then you realize like, oh, there's all these limitations put on you, and which way are they going to be, and where's the light in the room, and who's going to be in my way, and I got these ropes and.
All right, cool. All right, that's another one from Peter. I'm going to drop this one off. Let's move down to the next one. I think this next one is from Peter as well. The next couple are from Peter. No, just the next one. And the next one after that. Okay, this is Lava in Hawaii. So this is he shot this with his A7R Mark II in infrared with a 10 millimeter Voight. And apparently you're standing to the far right yelling at him to take the photo. What's going on here?
He was in my shot. I want him to get out of my damn shot.
That's awesome. I was looking at the shot. You know what that looks like? It looks like brownie mix, or cookie mix or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's called pahoihoi, and it's a smooth, undulating type lava, and it's really hard to appreciate just how big this area is and how big those cracks and stuff are. It was overwhelming. I mean, like I look back at it now, and I could have taken so many better images, but I was just overwhelmed with just how amazing it was.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you ever go on the lava and they tell you, the locals tell you, it's sharp, it's like glass, don't kneel on it, you should listen.
Oh, did you get cut?
Yeah. I there was a plant that I wanted to kneel down and get close to, and I just knelt down on a smooth surface, and it literally I had a bunch of little micro cuts in my knee, and it was just... prehistoric Earth does not play around, man. No, it's amazing. It's an amazing area, and this is one of those kind of images that I really love from here because it shows the breadth and depth and width of this place and the foreground and the clouds. It's really nice. I really love what he did with this, and I have some similar shots from there, so I'm maybe a little biased.
Yeah, I want to see those. Would you have the only thing that catches my eye is that telephone pole in there? Was there a reason to leave that in there, you think?
Probably because he lacks the Photoshop skill to take it out, I think.
I think you should have lunch with him and introduce him to the magic of the clone tool or the healing brush.
Peter is an amazing photojournalist. I mean, he probably likes that in there because it shows scale. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that he does.
Yeah. Or there's the purity of just like, I did not touch anything in this image other than capturing it in infrared, right?
Right. If you scroll down in the conversation, you'll see one of my images in there.
Oh, let me go back.
That I posted. And I didn't post it for critique, but it just gives a sense of what that place looks like.
Oh,
and then you can critique it.
That's crazy. Look at that.
And that's Levshin up there in my shot.
Look at that. He looks like a giant dung beetle up there on a pile of dung.
Yeah. It's an amazing place. We could have spent hours and hours there.
Oh man, I would love to go that. If considering what you said about how dangerous it is and how sharp the lava flow is, can you imagine falling and rolling down that hill?
No. You'd be shredded.
Yeah, you're like a bag of hamburger at the bottom, right?
Yeah, and see, I'm not the photojournalist, so in this shot, I streaked the clouds in post because when I got home and I realized, like, gosh, I should have done longer exposures while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is a panoramic of
where is this?
5.
Like what island and where?
It's on the Big Island.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you where. It's at like 10,000, 12,000 feet.
How'd you guys get up there? Did you fly up there or did you hike?
No, you drive.
So so there's a road. I'm asking because it looks completely desolate and inaccessible. That's what it looks like.
No, you drive right up to the base of this. So where Peter saw the power line, where you saw that power pole, is where the road was, and it's maybe 100 yards. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's not too crazy to get to it.
Yeah, weather's kind of extreme and
very, very nice. The adventures, love it. All right, one more from Peter here. Let's see. This is him in Papua New Guinea. He said, Papua this year, local walking through the village in his everyday outfit in great shape for 85 years old. Wow. No TV, no electricity, no cars, no junk food, no clothes, no shoes, great teeth, and in great health. He shot this with his Sony A7R Mark II infrared with a 12 to 24 mil lens on it. Let's bring this up big. Wow. Look at that. Wow. Like, you talk about stepping back in time, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got an amazing series of these. I really love this image, and the thing I told him, and obviously he ignored me, is you need to bring up the exposure a little bit. I thought it was a little flat, a little bit more crunch, but that may have been his monitor at the time. But what an amazing portrait of this gentleman. Yeah,
85 years old. Wow. I want to know the story, Peter. If you can comment in TWiP Pro, let us know what the story is with the horn or whatever that thing is on the private part of this guy. I mean, is this
the sheath?
The sheath, yeah. Like, is it like a ritual thing, or is it a fashion thing? Is it an age thing? Like, I'm curious to know what the significance of having that on there. It doesn't look too convenient to be walking around like that. But wow, jeez. Yep, you got to go to where the photos are, right, Trey Miller?
Yes, you do. Yeah, you got to get on a plane.
Yeah, you got to get on a plane. Very cool. Peter, thank you for submitting these and sharing these. These are fantastic. All right, moving up to the next one. This one's from Drake White. So Drake says, I've been asked to shoot a series of funky client subscription images of my city for a new Hyatt hotel that is currently under construction. They will be in large to a 4x6 foot or to 4x6 foot panels and placed in each of the 12 elevator lobbies. Okay. And he shot this with a Fuji X-T2 1855 at 55 mil at 1/500th at f6.4. Let's bring it up big. Wow, look at that. Talk about abstracts, right?
Yeah, I dig it. No, it's very cool. It's definitely a building that got flipped or rotated and then mirrored. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a building. It's a building turned on its side, though, right?
Probably, yeah.
If that's a satellite dish, that's peeking off the roof, and then he flipped it.
Yeah, I like it. In abstracts like this, the only thing that I would suggest you play with is you've mirrored the clouds in the background. And it's obvious you mirrored the building, and I like that abstractness. But imagine you didn't mirror the clouds, that it was just a beautiful cloud sky. And that would make it even more abstract, right? Because then you would have this building on top of something that isn't mirrored. Yeah. So it would create an additional layer for me. Yeah. But I think it's very clever. I think it's really neat. I really like it.
I do too. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. If it was just a random set of clouds back there, yeah, it would appear that this is an object floating in front of them versus the symmetry
right.
of having the left match the right. No, I get it.
Right. In the clouds, especially. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind the building because it could have been built that way except for the direction of lighting on the dish, as you can see the shadows. But, the clouds would be kind of cool. But what a neat concept. And if somebody knows where this building is in the local area, they're going to immediately, identify with it, which I think is great.
What a great project, too. This is what we talk about a lot, is giving yourself a project. In this case, the project was given to him, but giving yourself a project like this to bite into versus, hey, I'm in a new city. I got a new camera. What should I shoot? Right? To give yourself an anchor like this is fantastic. I want to see this. I want to see this hanging when he's done with it, with the series. I would love to see a photo of them in context on the wall with people looking at them. That'd be killer.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Clever idea.
Yep. Drake White, good work. Drake White, the generalist. Thank you, sir, for generalizing and submitting that one. All right. The next one is also from Drake White. And he says, commercial work. This is one of those shots that came fully formed as soon as I saw the product. My challenge was that I didn't have access to a baby, but I knew there had to be a stock image that would work perfectly. Of course, lots of babies. Fuji X Pro 2, 1/125th at f8, bumped the contrast a bit in Iridient. Look at that. All right.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I like it. It's a great commercial shoot. I love the use of light, sort of that sense of window light coming through, whether it was intentional or not. I do wish, however, that the plate was lower in the frame and it was pushed up, like the phone and stuff was up on the right, because I really wish the top max wasn't so close to the border. I feel like it needs a little bit more breathing space, especially for commercial or just for anything really. It feels tense up against that edge of the frame.
Yeah.
But handled very well. It's really nicely done. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And I get the concept right away too. I love the incorporation of Instagram in there, I'm assuming that's Instagram. Maybe that's just photos. But showing the photo on the frame, I do agree with you bringing the plate down a little bit, showing more of the cookies and having less tension between those words at the top of the frame, and bringing the phone up a little bit to kind of squeeze in. But I think that's nitpicking, right? This is a great shot. I'm sure this is, like you said, this was a commercial shot, so I'm sure it did its job and generated some revenue. So
yeah, and you never know what commercial requirements are too. They may want to put a white block at the bottom or in the top right corner and put text there. We don't ever know unless you actually see it in a magazine.
Sure.
But it's sharp edge to edge. It's flat. We've got everything is in its proper place. It's definitely handled very well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Exposure's good. Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. All right. Thank you, sir. And that was in Augusta, Georgia. Drake White again. All right, moving up to the next one. This one is from Craig Stampley. Craig says, from Tuesday morning shoot with Riley, the focus on this image was just on her outstretched hands, hence the shallow depth of field, black and white, because I like black and white, and it worked with the tone of the image, and because I'm trying to pander to Troy Miller. I put that last piece in.
Yeah, you did. I know you did. But it's so good in black and white. It is exquisite, because then it becomes more abstract, right? Mm-hmm. It becomes more, you really kind of have to kind of put in, is it a blue sky? Is it overcast? Is it whatever? And then it becomes more about the shapes of her hands and then the body form as it leads off in the frame. I think this is exceptionally well handled. And my only suggestion would be to remove some of that sky. We just don't need that much skyline in there. Mm-hmm. I think it competes with her body a little bit. So.
Yeah. One of the TWiP Pro members was asking why he X'd out the nipples in post. And that was because of what we're doing right now. We're reviewing this on YouTube, and YouTube's terms of service say that you can't show that. So,
right.
Yeah, and that's Nipplegate.
And that's very cool of Craig to think of that, because then he can submit the image, it gets critiqued, and then we know it can go out on YouTube, and that's very cool. So that's cool of Craig to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Craig, for that forethought. All right. Yeah, I have nothing to add to this. Yeah, I don't, as far as the sky, I don't really mind the sky. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, that probably would make it a stronger image, but it doesn't really take away from it for me.
No.
The, color wise, like we say on the show all the time, if it's not adding to the shot, then see what it looks like without it. In this shot, I would imagine either that's a blue sky or an overcast grayish blue sky. Obviously, white water or blue water with white caps and brownish material that she's laying on for the rocks. But you take all that away, and your focus goes straight to her and her hands, which is what he intended. So, well done.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. All right, let's get out of this one. Craig Stampley. All right, next one, another Craig Stampley shot. Craig says, this image was submitted for a recent Panasonic Instameet. I don't have a Lumix camera. However, it was an opportunity to go out at night and push myself. Cool. Look at that, long exposures.
Yeah, I love those.
The light streaks. Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, those are good. And then you can see where the car that made at least some of the streaks have stopped up there, or maybe they turned in or something, but it's neat to see that it ended. It might have been neat to get the streak to go all the way around the corner and then not have the car there, but I kind of like how it ended just past the pole.
Yeah, yeah. What's the secret to light streaks for people that want to try this technique? Have you done this? Yeah. Yeah, what's the secret? Just tripod and hold your shutter open for as long as necessary, right?
Yeah, so really what I do is I'll stand there and a car will come by and I'll count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. I'll see how far it takes for the car to get where I want or to complete the rotation, and that's how long of exposure I need. And then the rest of that is just doing your exposure math to figure out how to get everything else properly exposed.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, it looks like the trees have blown a little bit up there at the top, so they're a little blurry. So that's kind of cool.
And I think one of the more important parts of this is he just, he's exercising to get out there and exercise that shutter finger. Right? And it's a Panasonic Instameet. Who cares? Go out there with your camera and have fun.
Yeah. I may crop up from the bottom a little bit, maybe a third or half of that space at the bottom because I don't see it really serving the image.
Unless this was for a commercial purpose and they needed that blank space for text or something, right?
Right.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Craig Stampley on fire. All right, next one. Last one from Craig Stampley. He says, single image capture, and I wasn't expecting the reflection to be so strong. This is a Porsche 356 inside and out. He shot this in Brisbane, Australia town. There you go.
That's cool.
It's a one shot. So yeah, my first thought would be, hey, this is a composite, but not a composite. This is just reflections. Very cool.
No, I dig it. These are the kind of shots that I really like to try to get on my own. So this is one of those things that I look at and go, man, I wish that was mine. I don't shoot a lot of cars anymore, but when I did, getting reflections is always neat because it shows different angles, right?
Yeah.
Like you can see in the car and outside the window, and it really makes your brain stop and think about all this stuff. There's people in the background, and
your brain tries to put it together like, okay, where was he standing? What's going on here?
Yeah. And an excellent use of depth of field because the reflection is in focus, but the car just outside the window is soft and the people are even softer. So it creates all that wonderful depth. The steering wheel is brighter than the rest of the image pretty much. So our attention is immediately drawn there. So all those elements are working together here.
Yeah. Excellent work. Love it. I want to start printing for sure because I'm starting to look at these images and my brain keeps going to, I wonder what this would look like on a wall, big,
Yeah.
So.
In acrylic
or on metal, right? All right. Next one. Thank you, Craig, for those 3 shots. That's fantastic. Next one is from new member Gavin Steiner. Look at that. He put this in here 2 days ago. His caption, he calls this one Eye to Eye. Out walking and snapping at a festival. I captured this moment. It's amazing how you can connect with someone in the blink of an eye. He shot it with a look at that, a Canon EOS Rebel T6i with a 17 to 55 mil f2.8 IS USM at 23. This was 1/60th of a second at f8 ISO 100. Let's bring this baby up big.
Yeah, so at a 60th of a second, they had to be
He was
walking
moving
pretty quick. Yeah.
Everybody's moving. Yeah. Yeah, because 60th of a second normally will freeze, for the most part, it'll freeze motion especially if you're using strobe, obviously. But if people are in motion, they're going to draw on the frame, just like this guy did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really neat shots. It's a really neat sort of documentarian type, image of the event because really you're in focus in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And the clouds and everything, your eyes are drawn there, and then you realize the secondary subject is really kind of like this guy
mm-hmm.
in the foreground, and it can't help but wonder, like what is he thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like it. It definitely draws you in. And it's like, he's making eye contact with this guy. One of the questions I had was, what kind of festival was this? I'm curious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would suggest to Gavin that if you have any highlight detail for his beard and the clouds in the sky, I think it would help the image to have that detail in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it benefits it to be blown out, especially in his beard. It can be a little bit, distracting.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, good image though. Not much you could have done different. I mean,
yeah, and it's fun, right? I like this. Again, how would this look big printed? And again, people are pandering to you and your black and white lust.
They're not. They're just, you know what? It's just the universal amazingness. Everybody knows. It's just they gotta.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next shot is from K. Greatert.
Kai.
Kai. Oh, yeah. Kai's. Yeah, look at that. Sacramento. Perfect. He says, unusual perspectives. This is an old snapshot from a few years ago. I just got my new Canon 7200 and was messing around with it in the living room. Don't you love that when you first get a lens? And,
yeah,
of course, if you have a cat, is a victim for that new lens. When the cat jumped into the loft above me, this was a quick reflex grab to this shot. I captured f8 1/160th at ISO 250-200. Love the symmetry of the head and the firm stare and reflections in the eye. You really can't plan these things with pets, especially cats. But I do love this picture. Very cool. Oh, I love that cat. I love that kind of cat. Like that particular breed of cat is my favorite breed right there.
That looks like a Maine Coon.
Yeah. Yep. I love that cat with the blue. I had a cat that looked very similar to that, same coloring and everything. Had her for almost 18 years.
Yeah. I dig this shot. I'm just sort of playing with crop, and my only thing is I might crop up from the bottom to get rid of that white tag because I think that it's distracting. And you could always burn that down, and that would help just as well. But I like this because it doesn't look like the cat's looking forward. It looks like the cat's looking up. Mm-hmm. So all the negative space above him or her is okay. It works really well.
Yeah, the cat's moving into it.
Yeah. It looks. I'm not sure if I can't really see on the hair. It looks like it might be masked a little bit or cleaned up around the back edge of the fur, but that could just be.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because it's a gray cat with gray fur on a gray background. So.
Yeah. Kai, did you change the background? Did you change the background or clean that up on the right?
Yeah. But the fact that you have to ask that means he succeeded, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Absolutely. I make no assumptions anymore.
Yeah.
It's always interesting, to see because I know, I always think competition, right? So a judge would look at that and look at that edges of the fur and think, it looks like it could be. Mm-hmm. And you always for some reason that always clicks in, but cool perspective, yeah.
But even Kai is pandering with his black and white cat, though, right?
That's right. The cat is just a monochromatic cat. There's a little brown.
He's got a little pink nose, yeah.
Nice. It's not black.
Eyes. Yeah, I know.
There's no pandering.
You're like, no pandering.
This would be amazing in black and white, too.
It would. In a contrasting, yeah. All right, Esteban Gill.
Black and white only critique.
This is the one I want to hear. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. This is in your wheelhouse. So Esteban Gill, wedding shooter, says, here's a shot from a wedding I just handed in. Motion is something I've been trying to experiment with for a while now, trying to portray the couple enjoying a single moment during an incredibly hectic day. This is one of my favorite shots to get during the day, and my couples love it. What do you think, wedding shooter?
I used to do them more often. I don't usually do them much anymore unless I can be completely off the dance floor because it requires a tripod.
Yeah.
And I really, if I'm going to create motion, it's going to be me moving and them at the center. So you shoot wide angle, I move in close, and then I walk around them, and then that way I'm just me and my camera. So yes.
So you create the motion.
Yes, and then I don't need a tripod because I don't take a tripod to a wedding. I just don't want stuff on the dance floor. Yeah. But being able to show sense of motion is really amazing. For this image, I would strongly suggest you crop down from the top and crop out the arm and the white spot on the right-hand side. You're going to go through one of the groomsmen's heads, but you're going to bring a dramatic focus on the bride and groom. Leave it nice and wide. I think that's really cool. But yeah,
you wouldn't crop up from the bottom at all, right? Because they have the bride's dress.
No, yeah, I'd never crop her dress. Yeah. Always make sure to keep the dress in there.
Very nice. So
but it's a great shot.
You approve as a wedding shooter? You approve?
Yeah, this is great. If this was in competition, it would merit. I mean, it would be in the high 80s. This is technically difficult. This is really hard to do. So it takes timing and skill. And I want to know if he set them up to kiss or if they just kissed and he got it.
Yeah, Esteban, let us know in the comments. Was this a candid shot, or was it, did you interact with the universe to get the shot that you wanted? Love it.
Yeah, really good.
All right, Esteban Gill. Very cool, man.
Love seeing wedding images in here.
I know. We're getting all kinds. We're even crossing all genres almost over the last couple of shows. Robert Waltman, he calls this one the Iris. And this is a Nikon D810 ISO 64 at f4, 200 millimeter at 1/180th of a second. Taken at an iris garden not too far from where we live. It's pretty amazing how many varieties and colors are represented each spring here. Clifton, New Jersey posted this yesterday. Look at that. All right, so he's pandering to both of us on this one. I like this a lot. This is really cool.
Do you? Yeah.
I do. I know people say selective color or whatever, but I actually sometimes I think it's cool. I don't think it should be ostracized. I tend to like this one. It's drawing me right in. The highlights are a little bit strong on the flower part. You could pull those down a little bit, maybe add a little clarity or something in there. But yeah, I like where he's going with this one. What do you think?
Initially I'm not a big fan of like selective color. And then I have to step back and realize like, this isn't my image. This is, Robert's image. And then, what do I get out of it from Robert's communication to me? And, stepping back, I'm like, I like the idea that he's focusing on that color. I like the idea that it's not exactly a selective color. It looks like a little bit of a gradient was used. And I like that. That's a nice technique. I do think that this would be much more impactful if the exposure was brought down and the saturation was increased on the color portion.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
It's blown out, and then it sort of feels monochromatic, and then it loses interest because there's no detail in there. We really want detail. So
would this place in competition?
The way it is, no.
Okay, because of those things.
Because of the overexposure.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, the other part of it would just simply be, your artistic interpretation of the image, but the technical aspect is your handling of the exposure of the image or the presentation with the proper exposure.
Get you on the technicality.
Yeah, it's like seeing somebody's Photoshop tracks.
Yeah, right. You're right.
For me, you could be a high merit, a high winning image, and I can see Photoshop tracks. You're out. They have to be obvious. They can't be assumption. But yeah, they come down because it's part of the basic skill of creating an image, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got to be a ninja. Can't leave tracks. You got to get in and out and leave no trace of yourself having been there. Like we say, I think we've said this on the show before. It's like plastic surgery. If you can tell that it's been done, you failed. Right?
Yeah. But Robert, good image. Go back and work this a little bit. See if you can get some detail back into those petals.
Yeah. Dig it. Cool. All right, we're at a home stretch here, my friend. Last one. This is from Howard Yermish. And he says, one of the cool experiences from my trip to Canada around the Bay of Fundy this summer was exploring the shores at low tide. The entire area was completely covered with water about 3 hours earlier. I love that area. I've seen documentaries about that area of how, you know, how insane the tides are there because of its position on Earth. Yeah. Yeah, that whole area is like, you know, completely submerged and it just goes away really quickly. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know you're going to say it needs a model in it.
I'm not.
That's what you're going to say. Or it needs to be black and white with a model in it. Or
he told me no more black and white for me. That's what he said.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm on the fence of this one because this is if this is the Bay of Fundy, right? You want to show that this color palette is what comprises the Bay of Fundy. Otherwise, it could be anywhere with with this kind of scene. This could be on the coast of California if you want it.
Right, right. No, I see in an image like this, and oftentimes it feels like there's two images here. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the little bit of the foreground and then the sky, mm-hmm. which is kind of cool. And then there's the little bit of sky and the landscape and then the foreground. Mm-hmm. And for me, this is definitely a foreground shot. Like, I really love those rocks in the lower right-hand corner. Mm-hmm. He obviously chose to put them there. I think that's a great choice. And I think that for me, the sky is more distracting than it is helpful. So you could almost crop it off just above the landmass, and I think it makes a stronger image. I don't think we need all those clouds in there because then it becomes about the foreground. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
It becomes less apologetic because. Not that it's apologetic right now, but as it stands, the viewer is trying to make a decision on what to look at, and by cropping off a bit of the sky, you're saying that's not really important. Don't look there. Look down here.
Right, right. Even though the sky is beautiful, mm-hmm. I think that the story is the foreground, and I think that he intentionalized the foreground because he put the rocks in the lower right-hand corner. Mm-hmm. They're in focus. Yeah. Just crop that sky, I think would make it stronger. But I love the image, and I would never suggest this to be black and white.
Yeah, I was going to go there. Oh, I love it. Cool, man. Well, thank you very much, Howard Yermish. Very cool. Lots of good submissions. I think we have 14 this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are using the critique feature in TWiP Pro, which I appreciate. Very cool. All right, man. So we got through this one. I'm excited. We got through this whole 14 image critique, episode 30, right? And on my new machine, and the machine held up the entire time. No problems at all. Look at that. I'm now portable. It's official. I can do an episode of TWiP on this machine. Cool. All right, man. That's awesome. I'm going to let you get back to your day. What any parting shots for the TWiP Pro members you want to leave to them?
No, keep submitting. I think we should we need to come up with another theme. Maybe we'll talk about it and we'll come up with another theme because I think we're getting so many submissions now. And I think you've kind of shamed everybody with your last.
I did.
I think we should do a theme.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it would be fantastic. You just got to think about what that theme needs to be. And how do you feel about a theme, like in terms of like image comp? Do images, if you do a contest, do the images need to be shot specifically for that contest, or is it okay to allow people to go in and harvest their libraries and pull out that way?
We allow them to harvest. We don't have any time frame, but like at some competitions, they say they can't be more than a couple years old. Okay. So they want more current work. I don't really have a preference. If it's your work, I think it's justifiably enterable.
It's timeless.
So
yeah. Cool. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. I think that's it for this episode of the TWiP Pro Photo Critique. And we'll leave it right there. You're at spicyjello.com, right? If people want to go harass you and look at all the your black and white fetish shots over there.
On Instagram, you can go to spicyjello_BW, and you can just see nothing but black and white.
Wow. Hey, it's good to have a hobby, man. It's good to All right, man. We'll leave it right there. Thanks a lot, Troy.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Peace. This is TWiP.